My name's Mary Goodacre. I'm 62 years old. I'm just retired. I was a nurse practitioner, and I'm a triathlete, I guess, an age group triathlete. Also a mother and a grandmother, which is very important.
Tell us how you came to start in triathlon.
Well, I turned 50 in the July, and I think that's always a sort of, oh gosh, I'm 50. I need to do something. And also it is a time when your children are becoming a little older and you're a little less involved. Even though for me I still had a lot of involvement with my youngest. My entire family, we registered in a triathlon together, and I really wasn't that well prepared. I could only do breaststroke. I had a mountain bike that probably hadn't had any oil on it for a while, and I had practiced doing a little bit of running, but I do tend to be the sort of person that signs up for things. Oh, that sounds good. I sign up for it and then worry about how I'm going to get to the finish line. I heard my name called for the podium. I'd come second in my age group, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. So I think this little bit of success really helped me on my way. I remember doing my first 2.5k run in that triathlon and thinking I was going to die. I think the first kilometre you ever run is probably the hardest. People say I can't do this because they try to run and it's hard. But I think once you get past that first kilometre, it's plain sailing.
You've travelled all over the world to take part in these things, haven't you?
Yes. The ITU, the International Triathlon Union, have world championships every year for the Olympic distance race. And I started to do that. And that was wonderful. At that point in time, I had to change a little bit. I had to learn to do front crawl. I wasn't going to be the only one at a world championship doing breaststroke. I also had to learn to go into clip-in pedals and get myself a better bike. And then a lot of my friends started doing the longer distance ones, and I thought, I couldn't do that. You know, I'd never run a marathon at that point in time, and 180k. And anyway, a 3.8 kilometre swim was absolutely out of the question. And here I am now, I've done 10 Ironman. So
fantastic.
It's all doable.
What's your training regime like?
I usually like to do one discipline a day, but I'm not fanatical. Like, for instance, if my husband and I want to go out somewhere, we go out. I don't sort of keep it like that, but I do try for the most part to run 3 times a week. And I would say 2 of those runs being 10k and 1 being a little bit more than that. I swim in Devon and Cornwall with the wild water swimmers. I do that twice a week. And then I try to get out on my bike at least once, if not more.
Do you ever have a period of weeks where you don't train?
No, I don't actually. I think it's a little bit like an addiction. My body almost needs that activity. If I take 2 or 3 days off and I just don't feel right. And then I go for a run and I feel so much better.
You've lived part of your life in Canada?
Yes, we went to Canada for my husband's work. I never really settled that much. I always wanted to come back to the west of England, but now I think we have a good life. We live part of the time in the UK and part of the time in Canada. One of the interesting things about Canada as far as doing triathlon is concerned, it's not so unusual to be in my age group. Here in England, when I've done races, I am the oldest person in the age group, and often by quite a little way. There may not be anyone in the age group below me. In Canada, there will be at least 10 people, very competitive in my age group, and there will be 2 age groups likely above me as well. I've noticed that at World Championships right across the board, not just England, Europe as well, tend not to have the older women. America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand tend to have the older women. I can't quite explain why that is. Hopefully we'll change that.
Yeah. Do you feel that the fitness and the general sort of conditioning you have for doing the Ironman and the triathlon is something that you benefit from in your daily life?
I think so, in the part of it's an age thing. I don't think of myself in a certain age category, or I don't think of myself as particularly old. And as long as I don't look in the mirror too much, well, I can look in the mirror, as long as I don't put my glasses on to look in the mirror, I'm absolutely fine. I used to look at obituaries in the newspaper when I was younger, and I would see 62 and I'd think, oh, well, they've had a good life. And now I look and I think, God, that's tragic. You know, and this year, Sister Madonna Buddha, an American nun, became the first woman over 80 to complete Ironman. Wow. So she's now somebody that I would love to emulate, and I think, gosh, I've got another 20 years in this sport. So yeah, I don't think a generation ago somebody at 62 would look at themselves and say, I've got another 20 years in this sport and maybe I'll get better. I've actually posted 1 or 2 personal best times in the past year. So I don't intend to slow down too much right now.